We have to choose on these occasions, don't we, between a kind of minimalising response or a maximalising response. And it's a dilemma, because you don't want to say it's nothing. We've had 40 people really badly injured and 4 innocent people tragically killed. On the other hand, there's a sort of, you don't want to kind of give them the publicity and the sense of event that you know they want to create.
Well, that's what you've just done. I'm afraid.
By devoting our programme.
You're absolutely right. There is a choice, and the BBC today has made a choice, and they've opted, if I may say so, with the terrorist.
But
there is a choice.
We can't ignore it.
No one's suggesting you ignore it. And that's what people always say when someone like me protests about how much publicity you give these incidents. You have a choice of prominence. And the prominence given to them now, I think, is aiding and abetting terrorism. I really feel that. You should choose to treat it as a crime. Under the IRA terrorists, even under the PLO ones, we treated them as crimes. In this case, probably some crazy guy, for all I know, who's gone mad, he's done something really stupid and he's dead. It's a crime. All over London, people are doing crazy things with knives and cars, and people are dying. This happens to have taken place at Parliament, which is indeed serious, and people have died. I'm not underplaying that at all.
None of us are.
And it should be publicised. It's quite different from ascribing it with this tremendous clutter of politics and Islam and religion. It's quite wrong, and it is a new phenomenon, not on the part of the terrorists. Terrorism is just a method of getting publicity. We're the people who give them publicity, and we're giving it to them now.
Do you agree with that, Ben?
Well, I mean, I do partly agree with it. I think, you know, it's struck by how much coverage it's got. I mean, it's absolutely a tragedy for those involved. But, you know, particularly we in London, we have actually a really good story to tell about how, although we've seen an extraordinarily high levels of migration in recent years, you know, we've managed it very well. I mean, there are other migrant cities in the world, New York springs to mind, but what London's done, which is pretty unique amongst big cities, is it's reinvented itself as a migrant city, and it's done that with very little sort of real sort of, you know, pain.
I think Simon would have put this on the front of his papers and pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12.
I mean, well, I would have tried not to. I mean, you put it on the front page, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Let's be reasonable. I mean, I remember Nice. I mean, the BBC led on Nice for a week. What did ISIS want the BBC to do? Lead on it for a week?
Yeah, no, well, it's a real dilemma. But of course, the thing that will stop it getting as much attention, is that it's just happening more often. And tragically, we don't want it to do that, do we?
The IRA was an interesting parallel, because it was very much directed at London because of the crowds, as Ben said, and quite deliberately, as I recall, it was downplayed. It wasn't ignored. It was downplayed. It was treated as a crime. And the political significance of it was in a sense, it was partly because it was Ireland and we sort of knew we understood it, whereas Islam we don't really understand and we're sort of frightened of it. But this relentlessness of threat, menace, all these publicity from the BBC now. There's a drama documentary a couple of weeks ago called Attack, pure publicity for A, terrorists, and B, the Metropolitan Police. It's not the way to handle it.
Ben, always on these occasions, people come out. We've heard the Prime Minister tonight. We won't let this change us. We're not going to give in to terrorism. It's almost a cliche. I don't know how we would let it change us, to be honest. What would we actually do if we wanted to let this change? I mean, we're not going to...
No, but I mean, it's something like a car. I mean, it is very, very hard to do anything about that. What's extraordinary about it is the way these things, there's sort of trends in these things, aren't there? I mean, you know, people get an idea, people do it once, and other people follow, and it's very hard for the security services to guess what's going to happen next. But I mean, I think what Sadiq and others are doing, which is quite right, is trying to talk London up. I mean, we've got to talk London up because actually, as I've said, the story really is a good one.
This will have cost London millions in tourism, millions. And the more publicity you give it, the more millions it will have cost.
Simon, Ben, thank you both very much.